Welcome back to Easy English Talk Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Easy English Talk Podcast. I'm Ryan, and it is wonderful to have you here with us today. Hey, Priya, how has your day been going so far?
Hi, Ryan. My day has been really good. Thank you for asking. I have actually been practicing some pronunciation exercises this morning, which is quite fitting for today's topic. How about you? How has your day been?
It has been great, thanks. I've been preparing for this conversation, and I'm really excited to share these accent improvement tips with everyone. So before we begin, I want to ask our wonderful listeners, where are you watching or listening from right now?
Yes, we would love to know. Are you at home, maybe commuting to work, taking a study break, or relaxing somewhere? Please let us know in the comments below. We read every single comment.
And also, we really want to hear from you about something important. Is this podcast helping you improve your English? Is it making your speaking and listening skills better and more confident?
Your feedback truly matters to us and helps us create better content for you. So please share your thoughts, your progress, and your pronunciation challenges with us in the comments.
Absolutely. Your support and your stories inspire us to keep creating these conversations every single week. So thank you for being here and for being part of this wonderful learning community. Today, we are discussing how to improve your English accent naturally.
And this is such an important topic because many English learners feel frustrated or embarrassed about their accent. They worry that people cannot understand them or that they don't sound natural when they speak. But improving your accent is absolutely possible with the right approach and practice.
Exactly. If you clicked on this episode, you probably want to speak English more clearly and sound more natural and confident. By the end of this conversation, you will understand exactly how accent improvement works, and you'll have practical techniques you can start using immediately to make real progress.
Yes, and we will show you natural methods that don't require expensive courses or complicated techniques. This is about simple, daily practices that gradually transform how you speak English. This is not about losing your identity or completely changing who you are. This is about being understood clearly and communicating confidently.
Perfect. So let us start by exploring what accent actually means and why people struggle with it. Priya, can you explain what we mean by accent in English learning?
Great question. Your accent is the way you pronounce words based on your native language background. Every language has different sounds, rhythms, and patterns. When you learn English, your mouth and brain naturally try to use the sounds from your first language, which creates your unique accent.
So an accent is not a mistake or a problem. It's simply the influence of your native language on how you produce English sounds. Everyone has an accent, even native English speakers from different countries or regions.
Exactly. And here's something important to understand. There is no single correct English accent. British English, American English, Australian English, Indian English, they all have different accents and they are all valid and correct.
So the goal is not to sound exactly like a native speaker from one specific place. The goal is to be clearly understood and to communicate effectively. Clarity matters more than perfection.
Yes, and this is why we say improve your accent naturally, not change your accent completely. You're making your English clearer and more understandable while still keeping your unique voice and identity.
Perfect. So why do people struggle so much with accent improvement? What are the main challenges they face?
The first major challenge is that English has sounds that do not exist in many other languages. For example, the th sound in think and this does not exist in most languages, so learners have never trained their mouth to make that sound.
So their mouth muscles literally don't know how to form certain sounds because they have never needed to before. That makes it physically difficult, not just mentally difficult.
Exactly. And the second challenge is rhythm and intonation. English has a very specific rhythm and flow. We stress certain syllables, reduce others, and use rising and falling tones to convey meaning. Many languages have completely different rhythm patterns.
So even if you pronounce individual words correctly, if your rhythm and intonation are off, you can still sound unclear or hard to understand. The melody of English is just as important as the individual sounds.
Yes, and the third challenge is that people often practice incorrectly. They repeat words over and over the same wrong way, which reinforces bad pronunciation instead of improving it. Practice without awareness does not create progress.
So they are working hard, but not working smart. They need to hear the correct pronunciation, compare it to their own, identify the difference, and then practice the correction. Just repeating without that awareness is useless.
Exactly. And the fourth challenge is fear and embarrassment. People are so worried about sounding wrong or being judged that they avoid speaking altogether. But you can't improve pronunciation without actually speaking out loud regularly.
So fear prevents practice, and lack of practice prevents improvement. It becomes a negative cycle that keeps people stuck with the same pronunciation problems year after year.
Yes, and one more challenge is focusing on too many things at once. People try to fix every pronunciation problem simultaneously and end up overwhelmed and frustrated. Improvement requires focused, gradual work on specific sounds and patterns.
So they need patience and a systematic approach. Work on one or two specific sounds each week until they become natural, then move to the next ones. Trying to fix everything immediately does not work.
Exactly. So those are the main challenges: unfamiliar sounds, different rhythm patterns, incorrect practice methods, fear and embarrassment, and trying to fix everything at once. Understanding these challenges helps us find effective solutions.
Perfect. So now, let us talk about the solutions. How do you actually improve your English accent naturally? What are the most effective techniques?
The first and most important technique is active listening with focused attention. This means you don't just listen to English passively in the background. You listen actively, paying close attention to exactly how native speakers form sounds, stress words, and create rhythm.
So it's intentional listening, not casual listening. You are studying the sounds, not just hearing them. What does this look like practically?
Choose a short audio clip, maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute, from a podcast, video, or audiobook. Listen to it multiple times, 5 to 10 times, really focusing on how words are pronounced. Notice which syllables are stressed, where the speaker pauses, how their voice rises and falls.
So you are training your ear to hear the details. Most people listen for meaning only, but for accent improvement, you need to listen for sound patterns and pronunciation details.
Exactly. And after listening multiple times, you move to the second technique, which is shadowing. This means you play the audio and speak along with it at the same time, trying to match the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, speed, and intonation exactly.
So you are like a shadow or an echo, copying everything about how they speak. You are training your mouth to move the same way theirs does.
Yes, and this is incredibly powerful because you're not thinking about rules or trying to remember pronunciation. You're just copying what you hear in real time. This builds muscle memory in your mouth.
And you can shadow anything: movies, TV shows, podcasts, audiobooks, news reports. Just choose content at your level so you can actually keep up with the speed.
Exactly. And the third technique is recording yourself and comparing. After shadowing, record yourself speaking the same sentences alone. Then listen to your recording and compare it to the native speaker. Where are the differences?
So you are developing awareness of your own pronunciation. You can't fix problems you don't notice. Recording yourself reveals exactly where your accent differs from natural English.
Yes, and when you identify specific differences, you can work on them intentionally. Maybe you realize you're not stressing the right syllables, or you're pronouncing a certain sound incorrectly. Now you have specific targets to practice.
So awareness leads to focused practice, which leads to improvement. What is the fourth technique?
The fourth technique is minimal pairs practice. Minimal pairs are words that differ by only one sound, like ship and sheep, or bad and bed. Practicing these helps you distinguish and produce sounds that are difficult for your native language.
Can you give some examples of minimal pairs that are commonly difficult?
Sure. For many learners, L and R are difficult, so they practice minimal pairs like light and right, or collect and correct. For others, V and W are challenging, so they practice very and wary, or vest and west.
And how do you practice these effectively?
First, listen to both words pronounced by a native speaker and really try to hear the difference. Then, practice saying each word slowly and deliberately, focusing on the mouth position for each sound. Then practice them in sentences to make the sounds more natural.
So you are isolating the difficult sounds and giving them special attention until your mouth learns to produce them correctly and automatically.
Exactly. And the fifth technique is learning the physical mouth positions for English sounds. Every sound has a specific tongue position, lip shape, and airflow pattern. Understanding these helps you produce sounds correctly.
So pronunciation is physical, not just auditory. You need to know where your tongue goes, whether your lips are rounded or spread, whether the sound is voiced or voiceless. Can you give an example?
Sure. For the th sound in think, you place your tongue tip between your teeth and blow air out gently. For the th sound in this, you do the same thing but add voice. Many learners use a different sound because they do not understand the tongue position.
So learning the mechanics of sound production makes improvement much faster. You are not guessing, you are following a clear physical instruction.
Exactly. And you can find videos online that show mouth positions for all English sounds. Watching these and practicing in a mirror helps tremendously.
What is the sixth technique?
The sixth technique is focusing on word stress and sentence stress patterns. English is a stress-timed language, which means we stress certain syllables in words while reducing others. This creates English rhythm.
So it is not enough to pronounce each sound correctly. You also need to stress the right syllables and words. How do you practice this?
First, learn that content words like nouns, main verbs, adjectives, and adverbs are usually stressed. Function words like articles, prepositions, and auxiliary verbs are usually unstressed and reduced. For example, in the sentence, I want to go to the store, you stress want, go, and store.
So you would say it like, I want to go to the store, with those words louder and clearer, and the other words softer and quicker. That creates natural English rhythm.
Exactly. And for word stress, you need to learn which syllable in multisyllable words gets the primary stress. For example, photograph has stress on the first syllable, but photography has stress on the second syllable.
So the stress pattern changes even for related words. How do you learn this?
Use a dictionary that shows stress marks, and when you learn a new word, always learn which syllable is stressed. Mark it in your vocabulary notebook, and listen carefully to how native speakers stress words in natural speech.
So word stress and sentence stress become part of your regular learning practice, not something you ignore. What is the seventh technique?
The seventh technique is intonation practice. Intonation is the rise and fall of your voice pitch. In English, we use intonation to show if we are asking a question, making a statement, expressing emotion, or emphasizing something.
So the same words can have different meanings based on how your voice goes up or down. Can you give an example?
Sure. The sentence, you are going to the party, can be a statement with falling intonation at the end. But with rising intonation at the end, it becomes a question. The words are the same, but the meaning changes completely based on intonation.
So intonation carries meaning, not just words. How do you practice this?
Listen to how native speakers use intonation in different situations. Notice that yes-no questions usually rise at the end, while WH questions usually fall. Notice how emphasis changes meaning. Then practice imitating these patterns yourself.
So you are training your voice to move up and down naturally like a native speaker's does. This makes you sound much more fluent and natural.
Exactly. And the eighth technique is connected speech practice. Native speakers do not pronounce each word separately. We link words together, blend sounds, and reduce or delete certain sounds for flow.
Can you explain what connected speech actually means with some examples?
Sure. In the phrase want to, native speakers often say wanna. In get up, we link the sounds so it sounds like get up. In cup of coffee, we might reduce it to sound like cup of coffee. These connections create natural, fluent speech.
So if you pronounce every word separately and clearly, you actually sound unnatural and robotic. Natural English has all these connections and reductions.
Exactly. And you learn these patterns by listening carefully to natural speech and noticing where sounds link, reduce, or disappear. Then you practice speaking the same way.
So connected speech is what makes English sound smooth and natural, instead of choppy and mechanical. What is the ninth technique?
The ninth technique is reading aloud regularly. Choose a paragraph from a book, article, or script. First, listen to how a native speaker would read it, if possible. Then practice reading it yourself multiple times, focusing on pronunciation, rhythm, and expression.
So you are practicing speaking in a controlled way where you can see the words and focus on producing them correctly. This builds confidence and muscle memory.
Yes, and reading aloud also helps you practice at your own pace. You can slow down for difficult words, repeat sections, and gradually build up speed as you become more comfortable.
What is the 10th and final technique?
The 10th technique is getting feedback from native speakers or teachers. You can practice alone a lot, but eventually you need someone to tell you if you are actually making the sounds correctly, or if you are still making mistakes you don't hear yourself.
So how do you get this feedback if you don't have a teacher or native speaker friends?
You can use language exchange apps to practice with native speakers for free. You help them with your language, they help you with English. Or you can use online platforms where teachers provide pronunciation feedback. Even just occasionally getting feedback is valuable.
So you are verifying that your self-practice is actually working. You are making sure you are not reinforcing incorrect pronunciation. That feedback loop is important.
Exactly. So those are the 10 techniques: active listening, shadowing, recording and comparing, minimal pairs practice, learning mouth positions, word and sentence stress, intonation patterns, connected speech, reading aloud, and getting feedback. Together, these create comprehensive accent improvement.
Perfect. So how does someone actually organize these techniques into a practical weekly practice routine? What does that look like?
Great question. You don't need to do all 10 techniques every day. You can rotate them and create a balanced weekly schedule that fits your life.
Can you give an example of what a weekly routine might look like?
Sure. Monday, you might spend 15 minutes on active listening and shadowing with one short audio clip. Tuesday, record yourself speaking and compare to a native speaker for 10 minutes. Wednesday, practice minimal pairs for 15 minutes, focusing on your most difficult sounds.
So each day has a different focus, but you are consistently working on pronunciation in some way. What about the rest of the week?
Thursday, practice word stress and sentence stress with example sentences for 15 minutes. Friday, focus on intonation by repeating questions and statements with correct pitch patterns. Saturday, read aloud from a book or article for 20 minutes. Sunday, review everything you practiced that week.
So that is a complete weekly cycle covering different aspects of pronunciation, and the total time is reasonable, maybe 10 to 20 minutes per day, which anyone can manage.
Exactly. Consistency matters more than length. 15 minutes every single day creates more progress than one 3-hour session per week. Your mouth needs regular practice to build new habits.
So it is about building a sustainable daily practice, not trying to fix everything in one intensive session. What are some common mistakes people make when trying to improve their accent?
First mistake, expecting instant results. Accent improvement is gradual. It takes weeks and months of consistent practice to see significant change. People who expect quick results get discouraged and quit too soon.
So you need realistic expectations and patience. Small improvements each week add up to major transformation over months. Trust the process, even when progress feels slow.
Exactly. Second mistake, practicing without awareness. Just speaking a lot in English does not improve your accent unless you are actively working on correct pronunciation. You need intentional, focused practice, not just random conversation.
So quality of practice matters more than quantity. 10 minutes of focused shadowing is better than an hour of unfocused talking where you repeat the same pronunciation mistakes.
Yes, and third mistake, being too hard on yourself. Some people get so frustrated about their accent that they lose confidence and stop trying. But everyone has an accent, and improvement takes time. Be patient and kind with yourself.
So self-compassion is important. Celebrate small improvements instead of only seeing what still needs work. Every step forward is progress worth acknowledging.
Exactly. Fourth mistake, avoiding speaking because you're embarrassed about your accent. But the only way to improve is to practice speaking regularly. You have to be willing to make mistakes and sound imperfect while you are learning.
So courage is required. You have to speak even when it feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is where learning happens. Avoiding speaking keeps you stuck forever.
Yes, and fifth mistake, trying to sound exactly like one specific native speaker. Your goal is not to impersonate someone. Your goal is to be clearly understood while keeping your unique voice. Authenticity matters.
So you are improving clarity and naturalness, not trying to completely erase your identity or background. A clear accent with some native language influence is completely fine and normal.
Exactly. And final mistake, neglecting to work on listening skills. Your speaking can only be as good as your listening. If you cannot hear the difference between sounds, you cannot produce the difference either.
So accent improvement requires both ear training and mouth training working together. You train your ear to hear details, then you train your mouth to reproduce those details.
Exactly. So avoid those mistakes and your accent improvement journey will be much more successful and enjoyable.
Perfect. Now let us talk about some specific sounds that are commonly difficult for learners. Can you explain a few problem sounds and how to fix them?
Sure. The first common problem is the TH sound. Many languages do not have this sound, so learners substitute it with S, Z, T, or D. For example, they say sink instead of think, or dis instead of this.
So how do you fix this?
You need to learn the correct tongue position. For both TH sounds, you put your tongue tip lightly between your teeth. For the voiceless TH in think, you just blow air out. For the voiced TH in this, you add voice while blowing air.
So you practice in front of a mirror, making sure your tongue tip is visible between your teeth, and you practice words with TH repeatedly until it becomes natural.
Exactly. Practice words like think, 3, then, this, that. Start slowly and deliberately, then gradually speed up as it becomes more automatic.
What is another commonly difficult sound?
The R sound is challenging for many learners. Different languages have very different R sounds. English R is a retroflex approximate, which means you curl your tongue back slightly without touching the roof of your mouth.
So how do you practice this specific R sound?
Start with your tongue relaxed in your mouth. Then curl the tip back slightly toward the roof of your mouth, but do not let it touch. Your lips can be slightly rounded. Then make the R sound while keeping that position.
And practice with words like red, run, around, very, important. Really focus on maintaining that tongue position throughout the sound.
Exactly. What is also important is that the English R is different depending on position. At the beginning of a word like run, it is strong. But at the end of a word like car in American English, it is softer and the tongue curls more.
So you need to practice R in different positions to master all its variations. What about the L sound?
The L sound is also challenging because English has two types: the light L at the beginning of words like and love, and the dark L at the end of words like ball and full. Many learners only produce one type for all situations.
So how do you produce each type correctly?
For light L at the beginning, touch your tongue tip to the ridge behind your upper front teeth and let air flow around the sides. For dark L at the end, the tongue tip still touches that same spot, but the back of your tongue rises toward the soft palate, creating a different quality.
So you practice words that contrast these, like lee and fill, or light and full, really focusing on the different tongue positions and the different sound quality.
Exactly. And what about the V and W sounds? These are commonly confused.
Yes. What is the difference and how do you fix confusion between them?
For the V sound, your upper teeth lightly touch your lower lip and you vibrate with voice. For the W sound, both lips round and protrude slightly without teeth touching lips. The mouth positions are completely different.
So practice minimal pairs like very and wary, or vet and wet, really exaggerating the mouth positions at first until the difference becomes clear and natural.
Exactly. And one more commonly difficult sound is the vowel sound in words like ship and sheep. Many learners pronounce both the same way, but they are very different sounds in English.
So how do you distinguish and produce these correctly?
The vowel in ship is short and relaxed. Your mouth is slightly open and your tongue is in a neutral position. The vowel in sheep is long and tense. Your mouth is more closed and your tongue is higher and more forward. Practice saying both slowly and feel the difference in mouth tension and position.
So practice pairs like ship and sheep, bit and beat, live and leave, really focusing on the length and tension difference until you can produce both sounds clearly and automatically.
Exactly. So those are some of the most common problem sounds. With focused practice on tongue position, lip shape, and voice, you can master these sounds over time.
Perfect. Now, let us talk about staying motivated during the accent improvement journey. How do people stay consistent when progress feels slow?
Great question. First, set realistic goals. Do not aim to sound like a native speaker in 3 months. Aim for specific, achievable targets, like mastering the th sound this month, or improving word stress in the next 6 weeks.
So you break the big goal of accent improvement into small, specific milestones that you can actually achieve and celebrate. That creates motivation to continue.
Exactly. And second, track your progress. Record yourself speaking the same passage every month. After 3 months, compare your recordings. You will hear improvement that you might not notice day to day.
So you create evidence of progress. When you feel discouraged, you can listen to your old recordings and hear how far you have come. That proof is incredibly motivating.
Yes. And third, find a study partner or join a pronunciation practice group. When you practice with others who share the same goal, you support each other, share tips, and stay accountable.
So you add social support to personal motivation. Humans are social creatures. We stay committed better when we are part of a group working toward the same goal.
Exactly. Fourth, make practice enjoyable. Choose shadowing material you actually like. If you love movies, shadow movie scenes. If you love sports, shadow sports commentary. Interest creates consistency.
So you are combining language learning with genuine entertainment. You are not forcing yourself through boring textbook dialogues. You are enjoying content while improving pronunciation.
Yes. And fifth, celebrate small wins. When you finally produce the th sound correctly, celebrate that. When someone compliments your pronunciation, acknowledge it. Small victories fuel long-term commitment.
So you focus on what is improving, not only on what still needs work. That positive focus creates energy and motivation to continue practicing.
Exactly. And remember, accent improvement is not about perfection. It is about progress. Every small improvement in clarity is valuable and worth celebrating.
Perfect. So let us wrap up our conversation by summarizing the key points we have covered today.
Yes, great idea. So we talked about how accent is the influence of your native language on English pronunciation, and the goal is clarity and confidence, not sounding exactly like a native speaker.
Right. And we covered the main challenges people face, including unfamiliar sounds, different rhythm patterns, incorrect practice methods, fear and embarrassment, and trying to fix everything at once.
Exactly. And we discussed 10 powerful techniques: active listening, shadowing, recording and comparing, minimal pairs practice, learning mouth positions, word and sentence stress, intonation patterns, connected speech, reading aloud, and getting feedback.
Yes, and we talked about creating a weekly practice routine with different focuses each day, spending just 10 to 20 minutes daily on consistent, focused pronunciation practice.
Right. And we covered common mistakes to avoid, like expecting instant results, practicing without awareness, being too hard on yourself, avoiding speaking, trying to sound exactly like one person, and neglecting listening skills.
Exactly. And we explained how to practice specific difficult sounds like f, r, l, v versus w, and different vowel sounds, focusing on correct mouth and tongue positions.
Yes, and we discussed staying motivated through realistic goals, tracking progress, finding study partners, choosing enjoyable material, and celebrating small wins.
So the main message is that accent improvement is absolutely possible through natural, consistent practice. It requires patience, awareness, and the right techniques, but anyone can improve their English pronunciation significantly over time.
Exactly. And remember, your accent is part of your identity. You are not trying to erase it completely. You are just making your English clearer and more confident so you can communicate effectively and feel good about your speaking.
So if you are ready to start improving your accent, choose just one technique from this conversation and practice it for 15 minutes today. Just one technique, one small start. Build from there.
Yes, and be patient with yourself. This is a gradual journey, not a quick fix. But with consistent daily practice, you will see real improvement in your clarity, confidence, and naturalness.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope this conversation gave you clear, practical techniques to improve your English accent naturally and confidently.
Yes, thank you for being here with us and for trusting us to support your English learning journey. We appreciate you more than words can express.
And if this episode was helpful, we have many other conversations on Easy English Talk podcast that support your English learning. Topics about improving fluency, building vocabulary, developing confidence, and practicing conversation.
We create these episodes specifically to help you succeed in learning English naturally through meaningful, practical topics. So please explore our episodes and find the conversations that help you grow.
We are here to support you every step of your English learning journey. Thank you again for listening. And remember, every small improvement in your pronunciation brings you closer to confident, clear communication.
Start today, practice consistently, and trust that your accent will improve naturally over time. You've got this. We believe in you.
Take care, everyone. See you next time on Easy English Talk podcast.